Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Beaver edition of Extra Point. In the studio, head coach Zach McCray and sophomore quarterback Kee Christensen. And I told Kee before we went on that I might surprise him. We'll just let him sit there and think a while before we talk about what's happening. And Zach, you kind of surprised me. I went Beavers win, Cats win, Dogs and Grizz lose, and the Browns win. And you're wearing a Beaver shirt. What happened to this Monday ritual of Cleveland Brown shirts?
Yeah, we already talked about it as a football team. My fiance went on an absolute cleaning spree at the house yesterday, and I don't know if she threw away my Baker Mayfield shirt or threw away all my jerseys, but they were nowhere to be found today. So I come to you with a heavy heart that I'm not wearing my Baker Mayfield number 6, but 3-1's not bad.
No, but is it a chance maybe that the boys in blue that you coach maybe had a talk with her fiance and they had a meeting of the minds and made a decision?
They certainly could have. At times I think they're conspiring against me, against the Cleveland Browns, but I'll keep talking about it, and we'll see if we can't get them all Cleveland Browns fans by the end of the.
Okay. Well, I'm a Cowboy fan, so you and I both are on the wrong side of a lot of people's rivalry.
We are.
So, final score 38-20. Your 8th straight win over Butte Central. 4-2 overall, 3-2 in the Western A, and I guess we could call it a comeback victory. Considering halftime it was 14-7, and then all of a sudden third quarter comes around and somebody lit the fuse, maybe under Kee, maybe under the rest of the Beavers, and all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah, really cool game. It was fun. It was everything we had talked about last week, and it being a rivalry game, and it had kind of that hostility kind of aura to it, where you felt like you were in enemy territory, and despite graduating from Western, Tech's got a good setup up there, and it was just a fun game. I think the thing that we always talk about is that winning a football game is hard, and it is really hard. Ask anybody that's been on the other end of it, and so we tell them every week that over the course of 4 quarters, I would always take the Dillon Beavers over anybody else, and I just thought that we continued to grow throughout the game. We had less mistakes, less busts than we did the week before against Frenchtown, and give credit to Butte Central for coming out and kind of popping us in the mouth there. And Kee in the first half threw some really nice footballs that unfortunately got dropped, and then we were just on our heels a little bit. And then once we just kind of stayed in it, stayed in the fight, and good things happened, and it came in bunches. And a lot of it was due to the guy I got sitting next to me here. And, just fortunate to be successful after 4 quarters. Football's always hard, and we played a good opponent, and excited to learn some things from it, but we're also excited to win too.
Well, ball security, both teams suffered from it.
Yeah.
Butte Central had 4 turnovers. The Beavs had 3. And one of Kee's interceptions, though, wasn't exactly his fault, a deflection. And there was a Maroon that just happened to catch it instead of a Beaver. Yeah. But those are the things you're talking about, overcoming those turnovers.
For sure. Yeah, you get one ball that's batted and caught. And, those are things that just happen. One really special thing about Kee and coaching quarterbacks is we take all the blame, and so it's always our fault, and he knows that, and he wants to be the best version of himself he can all the time, and so it's really fun going through the game, through the highs and lows of the game with number 10 at quarterback, because we just kind of ride the ebbs and the flows, and it's always a business-like mentality. And when you can kind of shoulder the blame, shoulder the responsibility, it just makes it easier moving forward. One of them was on a 4th down. We just put it in his hands and said, go get a first down. And Butte Central did a nice job of spiking a gap, and we had to bounce it, and then 2 picks. But, yeah, we're always trying to get better in those areas. big games, tight games, close games, you're always going to have adversity. You know, we would love to come in here and say every week that we don't have any turnovers, but you know, football's hard, and Kee does just an awesome job of managing the football game and not staying too high on the highs and not getting too beat down on the lows. So.
Well, and one of Kee's, or I should say Kee's favorite target was a former overtime guest, John Kirkley. You threw it to him 9 times for 105 yards and a touchdown. So the Beavers really were the air attack in that particular game because your leading running back spent the game on the sidelines.
Yeah. I think in football you always have a next man up mentality, and Cale Conan was out last week. We're hoping to get him back this week. But through the course of the game, it's the same thing we talked about against Sydney when we went into some of our 2 tight sets. You just never know how you feel the game out. And Kee was slinging it, and we were having a lot of success because of guys like John Kirkley. I'm assuming Kee will talk about it here in the next segment, but John Kirkley is just a security blanket, man. He comes down with everything, and I think it's built a lot of confidence between the two that literally Kee can just throw it up to him, and he'll come down with it. And, you know, John brings so many other things other than that, too, his leadership, his excitement, his passion for the game. And, you know, we foresee those two having a lot of connections here in the immediate future.
Well, John pretty much told us that he wasn't going to sit out as long as the medical people had told him he was going to. He was going to play, and that's willpower in itself.
Yeah, I think it just takes a lot of courage to continue throwing your body to the wolves, and you're sacrificing a lot of your body mentality and soreness just to put it out there for the team. And you know, when you have a knee injury like that, I can't imagine how hard it is to sit on the sideline. I know he went down a couple times in this game, and he's just sitting on the sideline wanting back in, begging to be back in. And I guess the moral of the story is when you have guys that you literally can't keep off the field, you got something special, and that doesn't necessarily always pan out in wins and losses. But I'm so fortunate to coach guys like John Kirkley, like Kee Christensen, that you got to rip them off the field before they'll let you sit them. So,
okay, well, we're going to take a little break, and we'll come back and talk to Kee, and we'll also talk about next week's game in Stevensville, and we'll do that after this. Extra Point, and in the studio once again, Zach McCray, head Beaver, and quarterback Kee Christensen, sophomore. Kee, welcome to Extra Point.
Hi, I'm happy to be here.
I told you I might ask you a hard question.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just going to stick with the question. This is a fun question to ask. So you're a quarterback on offense, but I take it you're a corner probably?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you like better, throwing touchdown passes or intercepting passes and returning it for a pick six?
I mean, it's a tough one, but I think I just have a little bit more in throwing the ball to our guys. Just
Do you like to use your legs too?
Yeah.
So I got to go back to Zach really quick. Is he one of these QBs that maybe you want to tell him to think before he takes off?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of conversations about protecting your body, but the thing that's so special about Kee is that he is not even the same quarterback that lined up against Whitefish six short weeks ago, and so his asset, super athletic, throws a ball further than I ever could think of. Great leader, great on the head side of football. He understands football. He's got a thirst for understanding football, and he just comes to work every day ready to get better, and that it just makes it so much fun to coach him.
Well, and we talked last week about team awards that you give out.
Yeah.
So Kee's not only here to talk about being a quarterback and a cornerback, but
Yeah. He got this week, so we've been doing this thing called the Toughness Player of the Week, and you just get a little mini football helmet, and it's not meant to resemble too much other than just you're the toughest Dylan Beaver during that game. And I think to give that to a quarterback, to give it to a sophomore, says an awful lot about him. And he stands in there in the pocket and takes shots I'm not sure I would stand in there and take. And he'd be an awful fun guy as an O-lineman to play for because he just kind of keeps grinding away.
So, Kee, I'm going to fast forward a few years now. So you've graduated from BCHS. You're now playing college football, and you're being talked about as a prospect in the NFL. Where do you want to go play? Where would you play? I mean, if I could say, Kee, you're going to be in the NFL one day and you're going to play for, what would that team be?
I don't know. I don't have a favorite team in the NFL. I know my dad is a Cowboys fan as well, and so it'd be sweet to go play for the Cowboys just to be a little bit more. I don't know for sure,
but playing in the NFL would be a nice goal. You don't necessarily care who you would play for. Just playing in the show is a nice experience.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, that's all I would want. I wouldn't care who it's for. It's just to have the experience.
Well, and that holds true to college football too. You're a couple years out from even thinking about college. Is college football in?
Yeah, for sure.
Is there any place you would like to play, or is that going to be like a decision that would happen once you got to that senior?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep things open right now, and I don't know, just where I could go, who's offering me what, and if I get any offers first off, but yeah, just wherever it could take me.
Have you always been a quarterback?
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of times wide receivers will move up to quarterback. Well, you're doing a mighty fine job. You had a great game. You threw a touchdown pass to our buddy John Kirkley. And your body, how you feel today?
Oh, I mean, I'm not too bad. I'm a little sore in a couple spots, but like Coach said, I just like to get back to the field every day and get back to work.
So no is your favorite word when they say you can't go in again.
Correct.
Yes. So, Zach, does he have the option to audible?
He does not yet, but we're slowly building in some things that can come in the RPO game. I know that's a big trend in football, and it creates a little gray area. I just think more than anything, I trust Kee to do his best. I think we talk about it every quarterback meeting and every time he's out there. His best is always good enough for me. He doesn't have to go out there and be Superman, even though he plays like it, and he doesn't have to do anything special. He's just a grinder, and he's a great teammate. He's a guy that people follow, and so he's going to continue to get more responsibility every game. His growth between game 1 and game 6 is pretty incredible, and he just understands football. We can have a lot of good conversations on the sideline about what he's seeing. I trust what he's telling me because he invests the time in being a quarterback. It's not all just throwing the ball around and having fun. There's a lot of moving parts, and I think he's figuring that out pretty quickly, that his pre-snap reads are just as important as his post-snap, and we always start with, you just got to be aggressive, and if we make mistakes being aggressive, it is what it is. We just got to move forward, and the only bad mistake is one that you did passive or you weren't quite sure. And so we're just going to keep going with that mentality, because when Kee Christensen's playing aggressive, the Dillon Beavers are really good.
Well, I'm thinking you've built a pretty good relationship with those boys up front.
Yeah.
Because in football, that's where everything starts and ends, is up front.
Yeah, for sure.
He's going to be a good interview. He's
is.
one or two word answers.
Heck yeah.
Okay,
Perfect
one last question.
Yeah.
Academically, where do you sit? How do you feel about academics?
Oh, I feel pretty confident. I like my grades where I'm at, and I try to do the best that I can in school, and I know I like to keep it in the A's for sure. Yeah, I feel pretty confident with my grades, and I just hope to keep them up.
Well, one thing, Zach, that I will, not just football, but over the years, Beaver athletics has been high in the state with their academic achievements.
For sure. Yeah, kind of stole a motto from somebody, and we have it on the backs of our helmets, and it's called just all in. And stole that from Clemson a couple years ago, and really resonated with me because, I think you hear a lot in coaching of, you got to buy into the program, and you got to buy into this, and if it's a new coach, you have to buy into that. And it always, in my head, it sounded cheap. It sounded like I had one foot in the pool and one waiting to go. And so as I kind of started to dive into what all in means, we applied it to being a Dillon Beaver. And anything that you do in your life that you're passionate about and you care about and you want to invest your time, you don't buy in. It is who you are. You're going to invest more hours than you could imagine in just doing that thing. And when you're all in as a Dillon Beaver, we talk about being a great athlete, being great in the classroom, and just being a good dude socially. And so it really encompasses the whole thing of just being a great Dillon Beaver person. I know that we talk a lot about what it is to be an athlete, and boy, it's probably pretty cool to put on the blue and gold and go play in front of Friday nights, but it's so much more than that. You wear Beavers across your chest, it's on your heart, and anything that has ever meant anything in my life, I've had to work my tail off for. And to bring some of that back, when these guys do great in the classroom, certainly very proud of them, but at some capacity, it's an expectation too that you're not just an athlete. You have to be a great person. We're trying to build great fathers and great husbands and great career men, guys that want to run companies. And you can't really lack in those three areas, social, academic, and athletic, if you want to be like that. And so Kee is another example of a guy that is all in all parts of his life. The excellence that he shows on the field, it's the same excellence that he shows in the classroom, is the same excellence he shows out in our community. And I don't take that for granted. That's not the case everywhere. And so we're very fortunate to have athletes like that, but pretty fortunate to have great dudes too.
Well, and on that note, this band of great dudes makes a little trip to the Bitterroot this weekend. Next up, Stevensville.
Yeah, heck yeah. Kee, why don't you talk to us a little bit about Stevensville? What have we seen? We watched some film on them today.
Yeah.
Why don't you give us the scouting report here?
Yeah, well, they definitely are a physical team. They like to. I mean, they run low, and they're not afraid to throw the ball. And I don't know, we shouldn't overlook them at all, and I don't think we will. So I think it should be a good game.
Heck yeah, they got coached by a former Dillon Beaver, Trey Williams. He's been there for a couple years now, and they got a really nice running back who has a boatload of carries, boatload of yards, and he'll be a challenge to stop. He ran, I think, 43 times for 211 yards against Corvallis last week, and so we certainly got our hands full. But the message to the Dillon Beavers this week is the same as any week. It doesn't matter whether we play Hamilton, Whitefish, Frenchtown, Sydney, whoever, Stevensville. This thing's about the Dillon Beavers, and this is about getting better. And so we're awful excited to get back to work. We got to see the future of the Dillon Beavers tonight. We headed down and watched some 7th and 8th grade football, and then tomorrow it's time to go to work.
How about the JVs? How are the JVs doing?
The JVs are doing good. They lost a game, they didn't lose a game. They got a game canceled today against Butte Central, and they picked up Boulder, Jefferson High, I think is the formal name, and they're going to play Wednesday at home. And so, yeah, they're doing awesome. They got one loss, and they're just playing really hard. Brandon Ferguson, Mick Paffhausen, and Jason Ferris they got those guys fired up, and it's just fun to watch them. You don't get to see too much of them across the field, but you can hear them hooting and hollering over some things, so that's awful cool.
Okay, well, Zach Kee, thank you for coming in and being our guest today, and we'll see you next time on Extra Point.
Join Dream Motors and Dillon Video on Saturday, October 30th from 4 to 7 p.m. for Trunk or Treat.